Have you ever felt like the more you show your intelligence, the more resistance you attract? Like your insight is met with silence, discomfort, or even quiet hostility? What if I told you that hiding your brilliance, pretending to be less, could be the most powerful spiritual weapon you've never used? Yes, there's a secret path that the mystics, strategists, and philosophers have walked for centuries, a hidden art that Schopenhauer hinted at, where wisdom isn't shown, it's concealed, not to manipulate, but to protect. In a universe full of noise, chaos, and ego battles, pretending to be naive might just be your shield, a sacred disguise. That leads to inner mastery. This isn't about lowering yourself, it's about rising silently, influencing without being seen, becoming the architect of your destiny while everyone else underestimates you. It's not cowardice, it's cosmic strategy. It's the language of spirituality, subtlety, and emotional precision, and it just might explain why you've always felt like you didn't belong in the spotlight. Because your light was never meant to blind, it was meant to guide in the dark. So, if you've ever felt misunderstood, if you've ever felt like the world can't see who you truly are, stay with me, because what we're about to explore could shift everything. You'll understand why being underestimated might be the greatest gift the universe ever gave you. And before we begin, just a quick reminder, many of the souls who watch our content are not yet subscribed. If you're one of them, consider joining our community here at Celestial Truths. Hit that subscribe button and activate the bell. This way, you won't miss any of the deep, mystical revelations we share. What you're about to discover could reconnect you with your essence and help you step into a power that's been hidden, even from yourself. There's a hidden art to stepping back, to dimming your own brilliance in a world obsessed with applause. The wise don't always shine with flamboyant clarity. Sometimes their light is cloaked beneath a veil of silence. In the spiritual realm, this is not deceit. It is protection. When a soul begins to awaken and grasp the deeper patterns of the universe, it learns quickly that displaying knowledge too openly can trigger unseen forces, envy, resistance, even subtle sabotage. The mystic knows power grows best in the shade. To pretend ignorance, when used with pure intention, is not cowardice, but strategy, a sacred disguise that allows the soul to evolve without interference from outer noise. Consider how many times in your life your own light attracted darkness. Perhaps you shared a vision, a truth, or even a dream, only to be met with laughter, misunderstanding, or cold dismissal. The universe often tests those who shine. And so, the ancient sages developed a practice. Conceal your depth, wear a mask of simplicity, and walk among the unaware until the moment of revelation arrives. This is not lying. This is alignment. You are not hiding from the world. You are listening to its rhythm, understanding its pace, and in doing so, you avoid the spiritual exhaustion that comes from constant confrontation. To play dumb, as the world might crudely label it, is a deeply esoteric act when done with awareness. It's the soul's way of navigating terrain that has not yet awakened. Carl Jung would perhaps call it a dialogue with the shadow, not just in others, but in yourself. When you pretend to know less, you give others space to reveal who they truly are. Their masks fall off while yours stays intact. It's a paradoxical dance, where pretending less becomes a way of seeing more. You move like a whisper in a world that only notices thunder, and that's precisely where your influence begins, invisibly, mystically. In a society that rewards loudness and punishes contemplation, this strategy seems counterintuitive. But remember, a roaring river is often shallow. The deepest waters move in silence. Pretending to be less intelligent allows the mystic to observe without being observed, to influence without domination, to be present without disrupting. This is the quiet intelligence of the universe, the one that speaks through symbols, not speeches, through synchronicities, not social validation. By embracing this dissimulation, the seeker aligns with the subtle realms of spirituality, where influence is energetic, not performative. Begin observing your daily life through this lens. Notice how often your desire to be understood causes inattention. Pay attention to dreams where you feel voiceless. Perhaps they're calling you to reclaim your power through stillness. Practice moments of intentional invisibility. Walk through the crowd not as a performer, but as an oracle. Ask yourself, Can you let go of the need to prove your worth, and instead let your universe unfold it silently through timing, patience, and presence? This is not weakness. This is ancient strength. And in this sacred pause, we step naturally into the next mystery, how underestimation, when embraced, becomes a tool of divine strategy. Imagine a warrior cloaked not in armor, but in invisibility, a presence so unthreatening, so unassuming, that no blade is ever raised against them. This is the silent art of subestimation. In the mystic realm, it is not merely a tactic, but a sacred maneuver, one that allows the seeker to walk among shadows, gathering truths, while remaining untouched. As both Sun Tzu and Machiavelli echoed across time, power is not always in domination. Sometimes it lies in the refusal to be seen as powerful. To be underestimated is to be free from the sharp gaze of suspicion, to move undetected through the spiritual battlefield of life. The universe teaches through paradoxes, and one of its most powerful lessons is this: when you appear weak, others relax. Their defenses drop. Their shadows come out to play. They reveal more than they would to someone who threatens their sense of superiority. Here lies the power. By allowing others to think they've read you, that they've figured you out, you free yourself from resistance. You become the mirror in which they unknowingly reflect their unconscious fears, desires, and flaws. And with spiritual discernment you watch, not to judge, but to understand. This mystical patience is a divine weapon in disguise. Subestimation is not submission, it's camouflage. The strategist understands that timing is everything, that a premature display of strength can provoke unnecessary conflict. Just as seeds remain hidden beneath the soil until the exact season calls them forth, the wise soul holds back, silently weaving influence beneath the surface. There is a kind of universal elegance in this. While others compete for the spotlight, you cultivate your inner light, quietly, consistently, mystically. You let the universe unfold its moves, and only then reveal your own. This tactic also aligns with the inner process of individuation. When you embrace the role of the unseen, you're not lying to the world. You're honoring the sacred space needed for your soul's transformation. By stepping back, you give room for your inner opposites to reconcile. The ego might scream for recognition, but the self, the true center, knows that real power grows in stillness. Through dreams, synchronicities, or unexpected whispers from the unconscious, life gently confirms, you're exactly where you need to be. Let them doubt you. That doubt is your freedom. And so the disciple walks forward, calm, observant, underestimated. But this is no ordinary walk. It's the journey of one who has chosen to see with the eyes of the soul. In this state, conflict no longer needs to be won through brute force, but through subtle presence. You become like water, formless, yet unstoppable. As we journey deeper into this sacred path, we come to realize that many before us wore this same cloak of invisibility, and some of them changed the world without ever appearing to fight. Throughout history and myth, the most profound transformations rarely began with loud proclamations. They emerged through silence, disguise, and calculated humility. Some of the greatest minds the universe has ever cradled learned early on that true power doesn't announce itself. It whispers. It waits. The Roman Emperor Claudius, often dismissed as a harmless fool due to his limp and stutter, cloaked his intellect beneath a mask of simplicity. While others plotted, he observed. While others underestimated him, he ascended, silently, mystically, almost invisibly. He was the embodiment of a sacred lesson. When the world sees you as less, you are free to become more. Napoleon Bonaparte, too, was once the quiet observer, small in stature, seemingly ordinary, yet within him burned a cosmic fire that would reshape Europe. But before his name echoed through nations, he walked the halls of power unnoticed, gathering insights like a mystic collecting symbols from the dream world. The universe favors those who wait, who listen, who understand that every underestimation is a portal. It's no coincidence that many great figures were first seen as unremarkable. They allowed the illusion to serve them, turning judgment into fuel and invisibility into strategy. In the realm of literature, where the soul often finds its clearest mirrors, this archetype appears again and again. Think of Iago in Othello. weaving fate through feigned loyalty, manipulating perception like a magician conjuring shadows. Or the Count of Monte Cristo, who returns from the depths not with vengeance blazing, but with patience sharpened by pain. These characters, though fictional, reflect timeless truths of the human psyche. They remind us that the mystic path is rarely direct. It winds through betrayal, masks, and the delicate dance between who we are and who others believe us to be. Even in the darker corridors of history, where morality blurs and the shadow reveals its many faces, we see the same pattern. Those like Stalin, who moved quietly through the machinery of power until they were in command. While we must not glorify their methods, we must understand the psychology behind their ascent. It wasn't brute strength alone that led them. It was their ability to disappear within the system, to be overlooked, underestimated. This is the darker face of the archetype, a reminder that all energies, when disconnected from spirituality and higher purpose, can distort the sacred dance of the universe. But in your own life, this archetype still breathes. Perhaps you've felt its presence when you chose to remain quiet in a room full of noise, not because you had nothing to say, but because you were listening deeper. Perhaps you've watched others misjudge your silence as weakness while you gathered understanding, waiting for the right moment. These stories, both real and symbolic, live within us. They are not just tales, they are blueprints. They teach that when you embrace the role of the unseen, you step into the sacred realm of inner power. And as we continue this journey, another truth begins to emerge, that psychology itself reveals why this strategy works so deeply on the human mind. In the mysterious architecture of the human mind, perception rarely reflects reality. We don't see people as they are. We see them through filters, shortcuts, unconscious patterns shaped by survival and fear. Psychology names them heuristics, rapid mental judgments that help us decide quickly but not wisely. These mental shortcuts, though practical in a primal sense, often distort truth, and therein lies the mystic advantage for those who wear the mask of simplicity. They slide beneath the radar of critical thought, while others are busy categorizing, labeling, judging. The dissimulated soul is already steps ahead, unbothered, unnoticed, yet fully awake. 1. Such phenomenon is the Dunning-Kruger effect, a cognitive bias where those with little knowledge overestimate their competence, while the truly wise often underestimate themselves. In a universe governed by paradox, it's no wonder this dynamic plays out so often. The one who doubts himself, questions deeply, reflects inwardly. This is the one most aligned with spiritual growth. Meanwhile, the loudest in the room might merely be echoing empty certainty. The mystic sees this with clarity. Being underestimated is not a curse. It's camouflage, a gift wrapped in illusion, delivered by the blind spots of others. In psychological terms, we crave quick clarity. The mind prefers to simplify. He's shy, she's dumb, they're harmless. But in doing so, we miss the depth hidden beneath the surface. The quiet one in the room may hold galaxies within their silence. The overlooked one may be listening not with their ears, but with their soul. Carl Jung spoke of the persona, the mask we show, the world, and the shadow which hides all that we fear, repress, or deny. What if, by pretending to be less, the seeker is consciously guiding others to misjudge their persona, while silently integrating their shadow? That's not deception. That's psychological alchemy. The universe communicates through subtlety, and those who tune into this frequency understand the true game being played. In this spiritual game, to be misread is to be protected. If others think you pose no threat, they relax. Their egos loosen, their masks slip, and in that space real perception is born. This is where transformation happens, not by forcing your brilliance to be seen, but by allowing it to emerge when the moment is ripe, like the moon revealing itself through the clouds. The timing is sacred, the space in between mystical. So next time someone underestimates you, don't rush to correct them. Smile, observe, let their assumptions become their own blindfold, and meanwhile, stay connected to your own inner knowing. Pay attention to synchronicities, symbols repeating, numbers appearing, dreams shifting. These are signs that the universe is in motion beneath the surface. You are not here to prove yourself to those who judge by appearances. You are here to embody your essence, slowly, truthfully, spiritually, and when the time is right, that essence will rise, not as a performance, but as a revelation, which leads us to an even more refined practice, the art of timing, emotional control and narrative mastery. To influence without domination, that is the way of the mystic strategist. While the world chases power through noise and assertion, the awakened soul learns a different path, one paved with subtlety, silence, and sacred restraint. To pretend ignorance is not merely a mask, it's a mirror. It reflects back the projections of others, while you, inwardly rooted, maintain control of the unfolding story. This is a dance with the universe, and every step requires emotional mastery. Without it, the seeker risks revealing too much too soon, or not enough at all. Timing in this art is everything. It's the invisible axis upon which destiny turns. True manipulation, not in the corrupted sense but in its original alchemical form, is the ability to move energy without violence. It's the gentle redirection of perception, and for that to work, one must become a student of rhythm, of emotional currents, group dynamics, silent cues, and energetic shifts. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." The mystic understands this deeply. Emotional awareness becomes a compass, not to control others, but to remain in flow with the universe's intention. It is through this attunement that real influence is born. Imagine a person who knows their potential, yet chooses stillness, who sees through the games of others, yet does not react. That is spiritual power. They do not move impulsively because their movement is ceremonial. They reveal their depth not in desperate bursts but in curated waves, as if echoing the tides of the cosmos. And when they finally act, when the mask falls, even for a moment, it's not for applause, but for precision. One move, one word, and the entire dynamic shifts. This is not manipulation in the worldly sense. This is narrative alchemy, the art of crafting your myth, moment by moment. To do this requires more than intelligence. It demands spiritual patience. You must not only read others, but read yourself, your triggers, your wounds, your emotional tides. Meditation, shadow journaling, even paying attention to your bodily signals, these become the sacred tools of timing. When does your energy feel pulled to act? When does it resist? The universe whispers these answers constantly, through delays, coincidences, dreams. But only those with inner quiet can hear them. Emotional control is not suppression, it is listening. It is the pause before reaction, the breath before becoming. So if you feel called to shape your path through quiet influence, remember, it's not about trickery, but about alignment. When your inner state is in harmony with your outer actions, you no longer need to force anything. You wait, you observe, you trust, and slowly you begin to steer your reality, not through confrontation, but through coherence. You become a vessel through which universal intelligence flows. And in this flow, patience becomes your sharpest blade. As we move forward, we'll dive into this next sacred weapon, the one that separates the impulsive from the destined, the timeless virtue of patience. There is a force more precise than strength, more enduring than ambition, and that force is patience. Not the passive kind, but the sacred patience of those who know the universe doesn't rush. The spiritual strategist understands this truth instinctively. Everything unfolds in cycles. Just as the moon doesn't force its phases and the ocean doesn't resist the tide, the awakened soul learns to wait, not out of fear but from wisdom. Patience is the art of preparing in silence. While the world spins in haste, the mystic waits, watching, sensing, aligning. In this stillness, power grows, invisible, unshakable, timeless. To be patient is to trust not only the flow of life, but your own timing within it. It is to realize that delay is not denial, it's refinement. Just as Vito Corleone built his empire from the shadows, and Steve Jobs retreated before reshaping the world, the mystic walks through the quiet season with grace. They understand that seeds buried in the soil must endure darkness before they bloom. Rushing the process would be like forcing a flower to open before its time, beautiful potential ruined by urgency. In the mystic worldview, patience is not stagnation, it is gestation. Through the lens of analytical psychology, this patience mirrors the individuation process. The unconscious doesn't emerge all at once. It speaks in fragments, through symbols, through synchronicity. Jung teaches us that the self unveils itself gradually, through suffering, through waiting, through recognition of the shadow. The strategist mirrors this rhythm. They know that every emotional impulse must be felt, digested, understood, not acted upon prematurely. In dreams, they may find themselves standing before locked doors or stalled trains. These are not obstacles, but messages. Not yet. The moment is sacred, and it's not now. Life constantly invites us to this sacred delay, that promotion that didn't come, that person who didn't stay, that idea that didn't take root. These are not failures, they are cosmic pauses, and in these pauses, if we are quiet enough, we begin to hear something deeper, the orchestration of a larger plan, something the intellect cannot grasp, but the soul recognizes, a universe that isn't ignoring you, but preparing you. In this space of divine timing, every breath is part of a larger choreography, and you are being positioned for something only the silence could prepare you for. So be still, trust the invisible momentum, practice sacred observation, through nature, through your inner state, through synchronicities that guide without noise. You are not falling behind, you are ripening. Let others chase the spotlight, let others rush to be seen. You are becoming, and when the time comes, your emergence will not need an announcement. The universe itself will make way for you. And as we turn to the next secret, we face the delicate balance this path demands, the danger of hiding too well, and the fine line between strategic invisibility and spiritual mediocrity. Even the most sacred strategies carry shadows. To dissimulate, to deliberately appear less than you are, is a powerful path, but one that must be walked with discernment. When taken too far, this cloak of invisibility can become a prison. What begins as a mystical disguise may slowly erode into self-denial, until the soul itself forgets its own brilliance. The universe does not punish this choice. It simply stops responding. The dissimulated becomes camouflaged, not only to others, but to life itself. And here lies the risk, that the flame you once chose to protect begins to flicker from lack of air. In the language of psychology, this danger reveals itself in the split between persona and self. Carl Jung warned that if we invest too much in the mask, we lose contact with the soul beneath it. To pretend incompetence for too long can invite others, and eventually ourselves, to believe it. And once you internalize your disguise, you stop evolving. What was once a spiritual strategy becomes a psychological cage. The mystic must remember, you are not here to be invisible forever. You are here to emerge, to rise, to shine with intention, and then retreat when the cycle calls for rest. Even in legends, we see this balance tested. The phoenix burns before it is reborn. The magician hides his power until the rite is complete, but he does not forget it. Dissimulation must be strategic, not habitual. It must serve your journey, not sabotage your destiny. And so, flashes of brilliance are necessary. The occasional spark that reminds the universe, and your surroundings, that you are not what you seem. Like a star veiled by clouds, the soul must sometimes break through, if only for a moment, to realign with its own purpose. These lampejos are sacred. They are the soul's way of saying, I am still here. Practically speaking, this might mean saying yes to an opportunity that scares you, or speaking a truth you've kept hidden for too long. It might mean showing a skill in a meeting where no one expects you to contribute, or creating something that reflects your inner world, even if only in private. These are the small flames that keep the soul visible to the universe. Without them, you risk being passed over, not by others but by your own path. The universe responds to resonance, and to stay in resonance you must allow your essence to pulse, however softly, through the veil. So let the lesson be this: it is wise to hide, but dangerous to disappear. The mystic walks between worlds, visible and invisible, silent and expressive, humble and radiant. The art is in knowing when to retreat and when to rise, and in this delicate dance we come upon the final layer of this strategy, the ultimate form of power, one that requires no display, no justification, no performance, the silent influence that bends reality from within. There is a kind of power that does not shout, does not demand, does not even seek acknowledgement. It simply is. It moves beneath the surface like an ancient current, shaping destinies while the world sleeps. This is the power of silent influence, the crown worn by those who have transcended the need to be seen. In the mystical journey of self-realization, this is where the seeker arrives after shedding the layers of ego, impulse, and noise. It is the mastery of presence, when your mere being, aligned with the universe, shifts the energy of a room, not because of what you do, but because of what you are. This presence is not built overnight. It's forged in silence, tested in solitude, and polished through deep inner work. The mystic learns to stop chasing attention and begins cultivating vibration. The louder world clings to validation, while the wise one listens to subtle signals, the way someone glances away when truth is spoken, the synchronicity that appears after a quiet decision, the dream that insists night after night. All of these are confirmations that influence is not always active. Sometimes it's magnetic. Sometimes it's the stillness that shapes more than movement ever could. Psychologically, this is emotional intelligence refined into art. It's not about controlling others. It's about being in control of your own frequency. The truly influential person has no need to argue, to prove, or to overpower. Their energy communicates what words never could. Jung would call this the individuation of the self, the moment in which the fragmented psyche becomes whole, and this wholeness radiates through every gesture, every silence, every choice. It's not performance, it's authenticity at its purest form, and it reverberates through the mystical structure of the universe. In daily life, you've likely felt this in rare individuals. Someone who enters a room and alters the energy without speaking. Someone whose gaze pierces not with aggression, but with knowing. Someone whose decisions seem effortless, yet everything aligns around them. This is not charisma. It's coherence. The inner world and the outer world are in spiritual symmetry, and when that alignment happens, the universe responds, not with applause but with opportunity, alignment, revelation. Silent influence bends reality gently, like wind guiding the course of a river. Let this be your reminder. You don't need to prove your power to possess it. You don't need noise to create movement. True influence begins when you become the vessel of something greater, a consciousness that speaks through symbols, silence, and subtlety. Let the others race for the stage. You walk slowly, grounded, attuned to the sacred rhythms. Your time is not coming. It is already unfolding. And now that the veil has been lifted and the path laid bare, a new truth emerges, one that reveals not only how to hide your brilliance, but also when to finally let it shine. So tell me, have you ever pretended to be less than you are? And what did it reveal about others or about yourself? Drop your reflections in the comments below. I want to hear from you. Let's turn this video into a shared space of awakening, where masks fall and truth rises. And if this message stirred something deep inside you, don't leave without subscribing. Hit the notification bell, so you never miss the next mystical insight waiting to find you. Speaking of which, the next video that's about to appear on your screen might be exactly what your soul is craving right now. Don't ignore that sign. With presence and light, this is Celestial Truths. See you in the next revelation.